In the dead of night, whispers of forbidden rituals echo through the darkened woods. The shadowy figures dance around a flickering fire, invoking powers that defy the natural world. For centuries, tales of witches have captured the human imagination, painting them as healers, sorcerers, or agents of the devil himself. But who were these witches really? Misunderstood individuals or malevolent beings wielding dark magic? From the cackling crone stirring potions in a cauldron to the mysterious herbalist healing the sick, witches have appeared in countless forms across history. They were revered as wise women in some cultures, feared as outcasts in others, and tragically hunted as threats to society. But what happens when fear spirals into mass hysteria and justice is overshadowed by paranoia? Today, we uncover the chilling tale of the Salem Witch Trials, a dark chapter in history where superstition and fear led to one of the most infamous witch hunts of all time. Were these truly crimes of sorcery, or was it a catastrophic descent into collective hysteria? Let's unravel the mystery. Before diving into Salem's tragic events, let's explore the origins of witchcraft. The idea of witches dates back thousands of years, appearing in nearly every culture. The ancient Greeks spoke of Hecate, the goddess of magic and witchcraft. In medieval Europe, witches were believed to fly on broomsticks, concoct potions, and consort with the devil. But not all witches were feared. In many indigenous cultures, healers or shamans, figures we might associate with witches, held respected roles as mediators between the physical and spiritual worlds. It wasn't until the Middle Ages that witches became scapegoats for natural disasters, disease, and personal misfortune. By the time of the infamous European witch trials, tens of thousands of people, mostly women, were accused of witchcraft. Many were tortured, drowned, or burned at the stake based on flimsy evidence and wild accusations. This fear and paranoia eventually crossed the Atlantic Ocean and planted itself in the New World, where the Puritan settlers of Salem were all too eager to root out what they saw as evil. To understand the Salem Witch Trials, we must first understand the world in which they occurred. Salem Village, in 1692, was a Puritan settlement in colonial Massachusetts. The Puritans lived strict, pious lives, believing they were chosen by God to create a perfect Christian society. Life was harsh. Winters were brutal. Food was scarce, and the fear of Native American attacks loomed large. But perhaps most suffocating was the weight of religious dogma. Any deviation from the community's strict moral code was seen as a sin, if not evidence of the devil's work. The village itself was divided. Economic tensions between wealthier families in the village and poorer farmers created rifts. Long-standing grudges simmered beneath the surface, setting the stage for an eruption of chaos. It all began in the winter of 1692, in the home of Reverend Samuel Parris. His 9-year-old daughter, Betty, and 11-year-old niece, Abigail Williams, began exhibiting bizarre symptoms, screaming, convulsing, and contorting their bodies. The local doctor could find no physical cause and declared it the work of witchcraft. Soon, other girls in the village began to show similar symptoms. Under pressure, they named names: Tituba, the Parris family's enslaved woman; Sarah Good, a homeless beggar; and Sarah Osborne, an elderly woman who had fallen out of favor with the community. These accusations ignited a firestorm. Fear spread like wildfire, and soon dozens of people were accused of witchcraft. But what fueled this hysteria? The Salem Witch Trials were not merely about witchcraft. They were the product of a perfect storm of factors. Religious extremism was a driving force. The Puritans believed the devil was an ever-present danger, constantly seeking to corrupt the faithful. Witchcraft wasn't just a sin in their eyes, it was treason against God. Economic tensions also played a role. Salem village was rife with disputes over land and resources. In a time when property was power, accusing someone of witchcraft could conveniently remove an enemy or rival. Then there were the social divisions. Women who were poor, unmarried, or outspoken often found themselves targeted. They didn't fit the mold of the obedient, pious Puritan ideal, making them easy scapegoats. Finally, psychological and biological factors added fuel to the fire. Some historians suggest that ergot poisoning, a toxic mold found in rye, may have caused hallucinations and convulsions among the afflicted. Others point to mass hysteria, where fear and paranoia spread uncontrollably through the community. When combined, these factors created a perfect storm. The fear of the devil, economic grievances, and the tension of a rigidly controlled society all collided, leading to one of the most infamous outbreaks of mass hysteria in history. The accused were dragged to court, often shackled and terrified. Evidence used against them was flimsy at best. One of the most controversial forms of evidence was spectral evidence, testimony that a person's spirit or specter had appeared to torment the accuser. This invisible, unverifiable proof led to many convictions. As the trials progressed, fear and paranoia consumed Salem. Neighbors turned on neighbors, friends accused friends. By the time the hysteria subsided, 200 people had been accused, 20 were executed, and many more lives were destroyed. The atmosphere of fear and mistrust was further fueled by a lack of due process. In some cases, simple gossip or a personal grudge was enough to condemn someone to death. The trials highlighted not only the dangers of unchecked authority, but also the fragility of human rationality under extreme stress. As more testimonies were gathered, even the judges began questioning the reliability of spectral evidence. This shift in perspective marked the beginning of the end for the trials, but it came too late for many victims. The Salem Witch Trials finally ended in 1693, when Governor William Phips intervened. Public opinion had turned, and spectral evidence was no longer accepted in court. Many of the accused were released, but the damage had already been done. In the years that followed, Salem grappled with its dark past. Judges publicly apologized, and restitution was offered to the families of the victims. But the scars of those events remain. The lessons of Salem have echoed through the centuries, serving as a reminder of the perils of hysteria and the importance of reason and justice. They challenge us to confront our own fears and prejudices, ensuring that history does not repeat itself. The Salem Witch Trials are a stark reminder of the dangers of fear, superstition, and unchecked authority. They highlight how prejudice and mass hysteria can spiral into injustice. Today, the trials continue to captivate our imaginations, inspiring books, movies, and plays like Arthur Miller's The Crucible. They challenge us to ask difficult questions about justice, belief, and human nature. The haunting legacy of Salem serves not only as a cautionary tale, but also as a call to seek empathy and understanding. In our own time, how do we ensure that fear and prejudice do not overshadow truth and compassion? So, were these truly crimes of sorcery or a catastrophic descent into collective hysteria? Perhaps the answer lies not in the trials themselves, but in the lessons we take from them.